to your weekly podcast, Knowledge Empowers. As always, with you is me, Kat, 안녕하세요. Then we have Baruch.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we have Kolaj.
Dobré ráno. Good morning, everyone. Welcome.
Welcome. I have a very tough question on you, or basically on your emotions.
Don't.
It's too early in the morning. Stop giving me tough questions.
Yes, exactly. Okay, try.
What is your feeling when you schedule a meeting and the person is not coming and you're already waiting 5 minutes, 6 minutes? What's your feeling? Or how do you feel?
Shall I go first, Coach? It used to be discouraging for me. It's not anymore. What I think about first, not what I feel, but what I think about first is like perhaps the other person has another meeting. I'd better check. So I take it more, like from practical point of view, and I don't really take it that personally anymore. But it used to be more personal, like, oh, do they not think it's that important for them to attend this meeting? Did I do something wrong? Did I not invite them in the meeting? Or maybe I didn't explain really well what I expect of them in the meeting. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I basically agree with Baruch. I would say that it depends also if it is one-on-one or one-to-many, whether it's like me meeting my manager or meeting somebody and the person is late or not coming yet. In that case, I usually do those checkups or Slack messages or some other like, hey, I'm waiting. Where are you? Should I postpone? Should I stay? Should I wait? Should I stay or should I go? And if it's a group and I'm like, I have 12 people out of 30, then I continue with those 12 or actually ask directly those 12. Does it make sense to continue or we postpone, we delay, So I tend to usually do the solutioning first and then actually find out what happened with the remaining people.
Thanks for sharing. And I'm not sure if you knew, but there is an etiquette.
Yes.
Yes. Whether it's a meeting, like face-to-face meeting or a call. So let me first start with the calls. If you are sending an invitation, make sure you also put a body, like what is the meeting about? Because that will allow the other person to whom you are sending it to make a decision whether he or she needs to participate or what is even requested from him or her to make a decision, accept or not, decline, or even put tentative, right?
I would say that even before you send the invitation, it's good to write that person, tell them that they will have a meeting and if they are okay to attend.
This is what I wanted to ask. Like, what if I already have some kind of communication regarding that meeting, maybe some previous meeting that when we agree that we are going to have another one, would you suggest that I still put that body inside?
I would still put the body inside.
Me too.
And the reason is that we are pretty overwhelmed with work. And if you have tendency like me, forget. And when I open that invitation, it just keeps me reminding, that's the topic about we continue. So it just helps you put yourself back in the topic. So always.
Yeah, but my tendency is, I think, like similar to the rest of the people. So I don't really read the body of the invitation when it comes. Mostly when it's about meetings I know about. So like if it's a planned one and I receive the invitation, I usually ignore unless there is some special link. So unless there is visible hyperlink to some, online document or online white wall where we will be brainstorming or something like that.
So my suggestion is always put the body, but you've just heard 3 different opinions, but I would still put it there. And then when you receive it, always react on the meeting. And by reacting, I mean you can either accept, decline, or put tentative, but never leave the invitation just hanging in your Outlook or whatever software you're using because then the other person on the other side doesn't know whether it is going to happen, or he or she should reschedule it, or should totally cancel it, or it makes no sense. So always reply, right? Accept, decline, or tentative.
Okay, so here, I will stop you. There are so many cases where you don't know if you can attend the meeting. So what would you say, what is the time period that is acceptable before you need to respond, or it's too late to respond if you work in a global team, for example?
So if I receive an invitation, and let's say the call should be in 2 weeks, okay? And yet I don't know, because maybe I have another 2 calls there. So I would have 3 at the same time. In that case, I would put tentative, especially if there is more than just me on the call. If it's just me, so let's say it's you and me, I would then propose a new time, because it's obviously where I'm not available. If it's more of us and it would be difficult for the other party to reschedule it, I would put tentative, because it can happen that the other 2 calls I might have might be canceled, or I might not attend, etc. And I would try to respond minimum 24 hours before. So let's say 2 working days, right? Before, to let the person know. Or even, let's say, my attendance is important because they might require some of my decisions or ideas, but I'm not able to attend. I would ask them to record the session. So I could then re-listen and then come back with my ideas, my decisions, etc.
How about, what if it's some kind of on-site event, like they need to prepare some refreshment, seats, etc.?
If it's like that, then I would require make a decision now. Especially, I mean, again, at least 3 days in advance, because that's how. If it's regarding just refreshment, 2 days is enough upfront. But in case there are also, let's say, present involved, then they need to know the sooner the better, right? And then you just need to make a decision, and then you deal with the consequences. So you either accept and then you attend and you have fun on the on-site thing, or you decline, and then whatever happened, well, you even if you decline and let's say your other meetings were canceled, you still can reach out to the chair and just ask, hey, listen, my other meetings, will it be still okay if I participate? And then they can make the decision if they know they still have the capacity, etc., to say, yeah, sure, you're still more than welcome, or unfortunately, no. And that's these are the consequences.
Sometimes you don't need to be thinking about when to accept or when to decline, because there is due date, directly deadline written in the invitation. Like when you accept it before 22nd of June, for example. If you accept it before the date, you're welcome. If you accept later, ciao. So in that case, you know that you need to make the decision whether you come or not until the date.
And I also have seen many times people are afraid to decline meeting, especially juniors, but it's absolutely okay to decline. Especially, for example, let's say you have vacation, right? Decline the meeting. Let the person know you're on vacation. Sorry, or public holiday, or I have another meeting, or whatever. Because that will allow the other person to make decisions. Okay, that means this meeting makes no sense to have with people, or I don't need this person, etc. But make that call. But never leave the invite just hanging in your system without any response. And also, very important thing, if you accept the meeting, attend the meeting. Because the person who organizes it, their expectation is when you accepted it, you'll come, right? And of course, if you do come, focus on the meeting. Don't do emails, or don't do your phone, don't play with your phone, etc. Focus on what's said. Because then you are wasting the time of the person. And many times, even yesterday, I had a call like that, and it was exactly 15 minutes call. 15 minutes. The chair was amazing. She told us instructions. This is what's expected. This is the call out. This is what we need to do. And then there was another person saying, I probably will have lots of questions. What questions? She just told us what we need to do. What question? You know, I was like, what? And it was obvious that that person is not paying attention. As simple as that. And so really, if you have that call, pay attention. Done.
That never happened to me.
Sure.
I think everybody of us is a moment in their history when they were like, yeah, well, I'm not totally sure. Let us do more check before we do any decision here. And like in your mind, like, what the hell was it that person asking for? Like, let's play it safe. Let's play it safe.
I didn't catch that. What did you say?
Or that one.
English is my second language. I didn't catch that. Can you please rephrase that? Especially when your English is better than your own language. I didn't catch that. What?
or sorry, I'm confused. Like, so what was the question actually about? Like, what is the precise thing we are asking right now?
Guys, these are tips and tricks. However, if you have a call with senior, try not to use it because then they know you were not paying attention.
But sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's true.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's true. I mean, I've been on a call where a person asked like 4 questions in a row, and I was like, okay, what? I'm not going to answer 4 of those questions at the same time. So let's start with the first one. So what is the focus now? Okay. Or the same again, like they used in English word or some other, or some 3-letter acronym, which I haven't understood. Like, so can you please rephrase that? Can you try it again? Because I didn't quite catch that. So could be honest, could be really honest. The same goes for the answer, I don't know. That could be honest as well.
Fair enough. Now, let's move to the face-to-face meeting and the differences, right?
You mean when you accept on the face-to-face, you don't have to come?
No, more or less is when should you come? Like, is it like 1 or 2 minutes earlier, right? Or 5 minutes or half an hour earlier? When? So definitely if it's face-to-face, come like 2 minutes earlier, just so you have time to, if it's a meeting room, sit down, place yourself, etc. Make sure your phone is on silent mode, right? Or even don't look at your phone. So imagine you have just one-on-one and you would be like, and for those who are listening to me, I just keep looking at my phone. So it's very like inappropriate towards the other person. Right?
But I notice in some cultures, it is very common to take your phone with you wherever you go, especially with younger generations. And some of them will actually take notes on their phone or any mobile device. So.
And this is what I usually say to, if it's just young people, don't even bother to mention these things. But if you have an older generation like me in the meeting, just simply state, my mobile is my note taker. And immediately my mind shifts like, yep, they are taking notes. It's not that they are there for me to ignore. Or let's say, the percentage of young people would be less than 30% versus the older generation, then I would suggest to the younger generation to literally bring notes, like a piece of paper and pen, because that's what the older generation appreciates, and they understand, oh, they are paying attention, they're writing. So it's a suggestion, of course, but vice versa, you can teach the older generation, hey guys, save the trees, we are not gonna waste paper. This is today's thing. It's like, that's the technology. I'm writing my notes in my mobile phone, deal with it.
Actually, I'm not sure if it's more ecological to take notes on some cloud device, which is saving it online and your server.
I wanted to say save the trees, burn the oil, right?
Yeah. So there is kind of, different hard line. But when you say like with the young generation, I would still bother even with the young generation. Whoever there is, I would like to let them know that I'm taking notes and that whatever I'm doing, they are fully aware of what I'm doing or why am I doing it.
And then let me ask you guys this. I'm gonna give you a test case. it's a meeting of 5 people, face to face, and you are late 20 minutes, and you are enter the meeting room.
How long is the meeting? Like
1 hour.
For
1 hour,
okay, and I'm
you are
coming late.
20 minutes
okay.
late, and only 5 people are in the room. And you enter the room. Question is, would you apologize for being late, or would you just sit down and be quiet?
That is a toughie because it depends on the situation. Well, myself, I hate to even say hello to people that have already ongoing discussion. So I would just quietly go back if they already, I don't know, doing some brainstorming, or if there's some productive discussion going on. If it's like, okay, what we are going to talk about next, I would say like, hi guys, I'm sorry I'm late. And then just try to, fit into the flow of the meeting.
I would probably just do the mimical or like silent sorry, like or there is the other option, I would not join at all. Like, I'm 20 minutes late, fuck me, sorry for that, but yeah, you're 20 minutes late. You are like spend 1/3 of the meeting outside. If you're joining now, you probably have no clue what they're talking about, how far they are with the discussion. And if you didn't make it into those 20 minutes, you can wait those 40 minutes outside and wait for the result afterwards.
What if it depends on you? Like, what if you're a key member there?
Well, if I'm key member, they probably didn't move with the discussion. That's when your applies, Like,
okay, one of 2 key members.
That's still like, if I'm key member, that means that the discussion couldn't move further without me, or too far without me. And that means that they can reschedule, we can reschedule, or they could have rescheduled, or again, I could enter silently or speaking up or blah, 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 everything like that.
College really hit the nail by the head. So if it's small group, right, and you are already late 20 minutes, just simply don't go. That's the easiest thing to do, because then even, let's say you don't even put your attention on yourself. And then you can apologize, like, this and that happened, I was not able to make it. Is there any action items that I need to take care of? Please let me know, right? If you do enter the room, and now Baruch, you said even if there is discussion, usually what happens in the meeting rooms is that when you open the door, everyone will look at it, right? So that's usually reaction, like, okay. You already make a disruption by opening the door, and if it's just like 5 people, they will all look at you. So there is that break, and the whole attention will go on you. Maybe they might not say anything, but in their head goes, how dare is he or she coming so late, or how So it's perfectly okay to say, guys, I'm so sorry, I stuck in traffic jam, or I was in a hospital, whatever. Just say it. Win the empathy. And you are fixing it within 30 seconds, and then they can refocus. If you silently will go and sit down, they will still think, even if that person will continue with his or her speech, the others will still think, how can she just, or he, sit down and not saying anything? Like, it will still go in their mind. So, and you want to win their empathy, so definitely apologize and just move on. Best, I would still not go. That would be my decision, not even enter.
I think we already talked about this one, about, winning the empathy. For me, you don't win empathy when you state any kind of reason. So I don't really want to hear the reasons.
That's what I'm saying. No, don't even enter the meeting room.
Yeah. So, but you don't know what kind of person is there, right?
Correct. So that's why you need to know make a decision and then deal with the consequences. Right? Of course, if you have, let's say, a class and there is 100 students and a lecturer, you do not enter and say, hello, I am so sorry I'm late in front of 100 people. Just simply tiptoe on the bag and just sit down. So therefore, if it's face-to-face meeting, make sure you arrive like 2 minutes before the meeting starts, right? If possible. or have a contact on the chair in case you know you'll be late because of whatever reason. Let them know in advance, because then they can inform the group. Yeah, we will be, there will be also another person coming in, but we'll be later. Perfectly fine as well. Or as Kolach said, don't enter. If you are that late, just don't enter, and then just reach out to the chair and just say, apologize, and then say, are there any call to actions to me that I need to follow?
Yeah. Outside of box thinking, I also had meetings or brainstormings, like bigger brainstormings for longer periods of times, or some education classes online where people ping me, can I enter? Can I still come? Does it make sense for me? And you as a facilitator can decide like, yes, come, no, don't come, whatever. So you can decide whether the person can enter, and you can then fluidly put them into a group, so they enter the group and work with the group in breakouts or whatsoever. So it's possible to also ask.
Yeah, problem is when you are facilitator and presenter as well. So that's hard to deal with then.
And for that, that's why you need to have a co-facilitator, right? Or another person help you out. Like we had a session on Monday, and normally I am the person behind, right? But I knew that because I'll be one of the panelists, I have reached out to Baruch as an example, if she could be the IT person, the person behind. And then I've asked another colleague whether she could be the moderator. So we had another two people, even if it was 1 hour call, but another two people to help us out. And it's like, prepare for every meeting you have.
I would add there one more person, and that's a note taker. So somebody who takes notes, because that's also impossible for you as a facilitator and the IT guy to also take notes of what is going on and what are the discussions like.
Correct. And same rules apply even when you have face-to-face as on a call. You accept, decline, or put tentative on a face-to-face meeting. And if you do accept, come, attend the meeting.
Take
again,
it as a small contract between you and the host of the meeting. Yeah.
I think that when it comes to virtual meetings compared to face-to-face, in virtual meetings, you can much easier sneak in. Like compared to face-to-face, when you're on virtual, like there's just a small window which pops up, maybe not even that. When you have your camera turned off, the face doesn't show up, and you can sneak in, and nobody actually suddenly they will realize that you are there for like after 10 minutes you're being there. So like, you've been actually with us for the whole time. Yes. Or no. But again, these virtual meetings, which we are right now attending much more than before, much more are easier to handle when it comes to the flow of the people inside and face to face.
With virtual also, you can join mostly via phone as well. If you're using Zoom or MS Teams, whatever, usually company allows you to install the apps on your mobile phone. And I use it like if I know that I won't be able to make it come behind the computer, I just simply join via my mobile phone. I don't switch the camera on, but I can listen, I can comment, I can share stuff. So definitely worth.
Where are you? I'm actually in Bila buying my stuff.
I was coming from bank actually. Okay, so I've said same rules apply for the face-to-face meeting as well as for the call. So if you do accept, attend, and as Baruch said, it's like a contract. It's like signing a contract. If I accept, I'm coming, right? So I'll tell you a real life situation that happened to me. So it was after working hours. We were organizing an event. 17 people accepted my invitation. So I sit in my car, I drove to the office, I prepared the room and everything. Guess how many people came?
I'm gonna be optimistic, so I will say 1.
Closer is collage. It was 3 people.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I expected that you will say 0.
Can you guess my emotion?
Well, then frustrated.
Pissed off.
Okay.
I thought I'm gonna just like, ah. So this is why it's important, because guys, you're wasting the time of the other people. If I knew that only 3 people will attend, I would cancel it. I would save my petrol in my car. I would save my time. I would rather spend my evening with my husband. I could do many other things, but not that I'll spend the whole time. I'll come there, I'll prepare, and then 3 people showed up out of 17. I was really angry. And I have to say, then I wrote an email to all the rest of the people from the 17, not an angry email, a proper email, where I told them all this etiquette, what is expected, right? Because it's just not fair. The consequences were just like, at least on me, too big to handle, because I would rather spend it at home than at work. So
yeah, this is the thing. Did it help you when you wrote in the email?
The etiquette, 3 people came to me and apologized, like, oh, I really didn't know the implication, the consequences, etc. I'll make sure I know it for future. So I said thank you. But it was like a polite mail, like just explaining the etiquette. But really, I needed to let them know the consequences it had, right? Because what if that would happen to them?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be happy. So, yeah.
We still, there are 2 things which we haven't mentioned in the invitation. And one of them is subject of the invitation. And the other one is actually the invitation list. Who is invited, optional, and who is FYI.
Okay. Subject of an invitation, a very important one. That should really hold most essential information based on which you are able to make a very quick decision to say accept, decline, or tentative. So subjects are very important. Also check if you are set as in 2, meaning, let's say, almost mandatory for you, whether you're optional or you are just for your information, like BCC, let's say. So you're just aware about that meeting, but you don't need to attend at all.
When it comes to subject, do you use acronyms there?
I wouldn't. Well, depends on the audience, but in general, I would try to avoid it.
It depends. Like if it's group, so let's say I'm using now diversity, and we all know, the whole company know ERG means Employee Resource Group. So instead of me writing Employee Resource Group, I would just put ERG, because the whole company knows what that abbreviation means, especially those who are invited, I would use. But if it would be maybe external people who have no idea, then I would rewrite the whole subject not to use any abbreviations. I would try to avoid abbreviations, but if the group is familiar with it, why not?
And what about being creative?
like putting little stars and smileys.
Yeah, for example, stars, smileys, or totally unrelated, names of animals, for example, like meetings of giraffes, or something like that.
I don't know. It's like you're in a professional world, so I don't know how people will take if you're trying to be like, use a humor. I would just be careful. Like if you know the group of people and you can have like fun, why not? But I know that when we were doing now development open days, and our marketing team play around with the subject to make it really catchy, and they were testing whether it would attract people more versus if they would just put some plain subject. It has an effect, but you need to be good copywriter. So again, basically put a subject based on which the person can make a quick decision. Yes, it's important. Yes, I want to attend, or no, it has nothing to do with me.
But if you do a good subject, you don't need body then.
Body should still hold either further information or none. If your subject is that strong, then none. But I still put body. me personally. It's my opinion. And then 2 optional, or for your information, again, depends on the system you are using. It allows you to put like the BCC. If you are on optional, that means optional. That means your attendance is not required.
So if I'm optional, do I need to respond?
If you are optional, it's not even required from you to respond. The person will not calculate with you. The person, the chair or host, is calculating more with those who are on 2. If I'm optional and I see this meeting is still valuable for me, like I want to be professional, so I will let that person know I'll join, so I'll accept it. But it's not required from you. And if I'm on 2, and let's say the subject is really good, very strong, and I know like, wow, okay, but I also know it has absolutely nothing to do with me, I'll decline with the respond, and I will write down, for example, I don't know where you found my name, but this topic has nothing to do with me. I am da-da-da. If you want, we can ping each other and further explain why do you require my attendance, da-da-da-da-da. Because sometimes people make mistake and just put the wrong name there, and they don't realize it until you reply back like, whoa, I have a wrong person there. Right? For example, there is another Katarina here in the company, just one letter different, and voila, I might have her meetings, vice versa, she can have my meetings just because of that. So it can happen, right? So feel free to decline. That person will realize, oh, I have a wrong person.
I would say that when it comes to optional people, or actually, I have also experienced where I've put everyone on optional. Like there is no required person to be there. Everybody is welcome to be there. And in that case, would like to know how many people will come, although it's optional, although it's like, I don't know, presentation about some soft skills, the soft skill topic, and you don't need to go, but it would be great if you join, or it would be great to let me know. So I rather stick to the habit of whatever invitation it is, whatever you are, whether it's you are required or optional or just FYI, let the person know you're coming or you're not. So accept, decline, wherever you are.
This wouldn't go for people on FYI, right? For you, coach.
I'm not sure if the tool allows it, but I think that when I was as an FYI, I still gave the I go, I don't go, depends, like if, or even ask like, am I needed there? I'm gonna join if you need me there or something like that. So even when I was an FYI, I still talked to the person or gave some sort of consent and made an agreement.
I sometimes even used a sentence among of the body that if I use those who are optional, that I define that I just wanted you to know that this is organized. Feel free to decline, just so they are aware and they can make a tick, like a to-do list, say, yep, she did it, okay. And I just define it in the body.
I usually use different sentence in the body, and that's do not use tentative. Either accept or decline. I don't do tentative.
Yeah, exactly. Really, you can do like numerous things. So guys, we just shared with you the etiquette. If you have any questions on the etiquette, whether it's face-to-face or on a call, let us know. You can write a comment to us. And with that, I'm gonna say Sugashasmida.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.